Talking about self-harm on your own child is very difficult. So please forgive me if I tear up. This is probably the most difficult one for me to talk about. It's not too hard to talk about anxiety or depression. It's not too hard for me to talk about eating disorders. But talking about my child who was harming herself, I am actually in front of this camera feeling as though I'm naked. It's pretty frightening. There's a lot about self-harm that I didn't understand, that I do now, but I want to share a story with you that is very, very personal. Elizabeth started self-harming at about age 13 or 14 because she'd seen a friend of hers do it, and she didn't want her friend to feel alone. What she didn't realize is that it was as hard of an addiction to kick as heroin. Elizabeth would cut because she felt numb, or she would cut because feelings became too intense. One night, she came to me. My husband was out of town. And she said, "Mom, there's something I need to show you." It was about midnight. And I woke up and I said, "Okay, honey, what is it?" And she showed me both of her arms. And they were sliced and diced from wrist to elbow on both of them. It was probably the hardest thing I have ever seen. I had to stay up all night with her that night, call the insurance company, find a psychiatric hospital for her to go to because I knew I couldn't keep her safe, that she had to be someplace else. And she went there for 10 days, and it was the longest 10 days of my life. But going to that hospital didn't stop her from cutting. She actually came home and had a relapse about 2 weeks later. And I'm going to be honest, I lost it. I screamed and I cried and I swore and used words I thought I'd never use as a parent. Fast forward a year and a half, 2 years. We've moved. My husband's has at a different job. We're in a different state. And I thought she was clean. Notice that I thought she was clean. She actually wasn't clean. And I'm on Facebook early one morning and I get a message from a mother of one of her friends who told me Lizzie's been cutting. How did she know that? Elizabeth recorded it and put it on the internet, but she never came to tell me. She never came to tell the one person that had her best interest at heart. So I went up to her room and I pulled back her covers and I said, "You need to show me where you've been cutting." And she did in her sleepy stupor. And I had to tell my daughter that I accept the fact that she may want to kill herself and that one day she may choose to leave this world. And that was probably the worst moment of my life. Knowing that your child has a disorder that you cannot fix, that you cannot solve, has some implications on your relationship. And accepting the fact that they may choose not to live one day gives you the opportunity to choose one of two things. Treasure every moment you have with them, or fear every moment you have with them. And in that moment, I chose to treasure every day that we have had together. It has now been 4 years since that day, and I'm happy to tell you she has been clean. So, we're going to get a little bit more into self-harm and the types of self-harm and what you can do.